Folks, we repeatedly told you what would happen if Donald Trump is put back in the Oval Office, how he would abuse his power. Folks, today in California, federal agents literally forcefully removed a sitting United States Senator from a news conference where Department of Homeland Security ICE Barbie Kristi Noem was speaking. That senator is Alex Padilla. Folks, NBC News political and national correspondent Jacob Soboroff, he captured the moment where Padilla was forcefully taken from the room, taken to, don't play it yet, taken to the floor and handcuffed. Now, he was trying to, hold on one second, guys. Padilla was trying to, he was first of all invited there for a briefing with Noem. She was speaking, he wanted to ask her a question, and that's when these federal agents did this.
Guys, ready? And bell seat. Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to
hands off.
How many of our ICE agents have been docked?
On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go ahead, put them behind my back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here.
I did not know.
There's no recording allowed out here per FBI rights for the building.
So what, I'm sorry?
There's no recording allowed out here.
That's my boss. I have to
There's no
record
recording
everything
allowed
for
out
us.
here. You can record. There's no recording allowed out here.
Then, folks, the ICE folks lied. They put out a statement saying that Padilla never identified himself. You hear him say on the video he is a United States Senator. Well, after being briefly detained, Padilla spoke to reporters.
Over the course of recent weeks, several of my colleagues have been asking the Department of Homeland Security for more information and more answers on their increasingly extreme immigration enforcement actions. And we've gotten little to no information in response to our inquiries. And so I came to the press conference to hear what she had to say, to see if I could learn any new additional information. And at one point, I had a question. And let me emphasize, just as we've emphasized the right for people to peacefully protest and to stand up for their First Amendment rights, for our fundamental rights. I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question. And so I began to ask a question. I was almost immediately forcibly removed from the room. I was forced to the ground, and I was handcuffed. I was not arrested. I was not detained. I will say this. If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country. We will hold this administration accountable.
Folks, the actions against Senator Padilla unleash Democrats on Capitol Hill. They were angry, they were fired up, and were shocked and stunned by the actions. Now, mind you, one of these federal agents included an FBI officer. It was unbelievable what took place. This is New Jersey Senator Cory Booker on the United States Senate floor.
Mr. President.
I recognize the senator from New Jersey.
I never thought I would imagine having to stand here and discuss what I saw today, a United States Senator in his own community, in the city in which he grew up, elected under the authority of the people, stepping forward to get answers to legitimate questions. And we see him being thrown to the ground after being removed from a room forcibly and put into handcuffs by multiple people. This, to me, is such an abuse of authority. It is a violent act, and there can be no justification of seeing a senator forced to their knees, laid flat on the ground, their hands twisted behind their back, and being put into restraints. If you see the video, at that point, he's not fighting, he's not pushing. But this is a pattern and a practice. This is not an isolated incident. I remind people that in my own community, in the city of Newark, we had a congresswoman and a mayor at a facility. The mayor invited into the gate the Congress people, invited into a conference room, and then the mayor asked to leave, who did leave, and then numerous agents run out to arrest that mayor. Now, the judge in this case said it was outrageous, reprimanded the Trump administration for the arrest in and of itself. We see time and time again with this administration trying to precipitate a response by the misuse and the abuse of force. This is more akin to authoritarian governments. When you see a democratic nation having their executive begin to arrest mayors, begin to arrest judges, begin to arrest a United States senator who is simply asking for answers to their questions, to remove them from a room forcibly, to throw them to the ground, to put them in restraints. This is something that we should not tolerate. And by we, this is not Democrats and Republicans. This is we in this body. We have a constitutional obligation to provide oversight to the executive, a constitutional obligation to ask questions, to make inquiries, a constitutional obligation to check and balance the authority of the executive. And so here we saw before our eyes a senator in their district, in their state, asking questions, and we see him being shoved out of a room, but it did not stop there. Shoved to the ground, shoved onto his belly, and have his arms pulled behind his back. This should outrage every United States senator. This should outrage every United States senator.
Folks, this was Senator Elizabeth Warren as she was headed to the Senate floor. Okay, we're going to have that in a second. Folks, it's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Let's roll the next video.
Call it what it is, a disgraceful abuse of power. Senator Padilla was handcuffed and dragged out of for daring to ask a question. This wasn't a threat, it's dissent, and they crushed it with force. They're not keeping us safe, they're trying to silence us. We won't back down.
Folks, that is Congresswoman Norma Torres. It's just, just unbelievable what we're seeing. Not only that, we had, of course, again, we're going to show you what Senator Elizabeth Warren had to say. Then you had this major clash in the House between Congressman Maxwell Frost and James Comer and that nutcase Marjorie Taylor Greene. And this thing just goes on and on and on. And Republicans, it's amazingly how silent they are. I want to bring my panel. We're going to play you some of this more video. Dr. Greg Carr, Department of Afro-American Studies, Howard University out of D.C., Reese Colbert, host of the Reese Colbert Show and creator of Card Game, and my tripping out of D.C., Zabora G, DEIA consultant, employment specialist out of Houston. We have Greg and Reese. Here's the thing here, Reese. It is just nuts here. And when you talk about an authoritarian regime, that's what this is. What Donald Trump wants to do, he wants to amass power. He wants to act like he has total control over every federal law enforcement officer. They can do what they want. We're going to talk a little bit later about the speech that he gave before those troops at Fort Bragg, how they think, no, these are my troops, I can do what I want, and how they even were weeding out people who agree with him politically, which is never supposed to happen when it comes to the military. All of these people who played around and BS, who told us, oh, y'all shilling for Democrats, y'all trying to scare us into voting, that man ain't gonna do all of this stuff. We have Exhibit 1168, Exhibit 1169, and it's just every single day, and people don't seem to understand. This is what he wants. We're not even at the 6-month mark of this idiot's second term.
Yeah, I mean, look, who gonna check him? He's proven that everything he wants to do, he can do, and ain't nobody gonna do a damn thing about it. The reality is that we now have a single branch of government running the United States, running the federal government, and that's the authoritarian regime of Donald Trump. Republicans who are so hell-bent the other time on decorum and my friend across the aisle and how people are supposed to be buttoned up, ain't got a damn thing to say about a U.S. sitting senator being tackled by federal agents, and Kristi Noem, her stupid ass, is just sitting up there rambling on like this is normal. This is not normal. And to Senator Padilla's point, if they can act like this towards one out of 100 of the most powerful people in this country, you know they're gonna cut a whole ass, or they already are, against everyday regular people. And so shame on the Republicans for their silence, but also, should the Democrats ever manage to get back in office, or for the remainder of this term, drop all of that camaraderie bullshit, drop all of that my friends across the aisle bullshit, and treat them like how they would treat you. They've already deemed Democrats enemies of this regime. Treat them with the same energy that they're treating you. Maybe we can get somewhere. Maybe people will start to realize that Democrats and Republicans are not two sides of the same coin.
Greg, this is right here, the concern. There were so many people, and I've heard this from black folks in media, in other spaces. Democrats need to fight back. They need to be showing up at these places. They need to be protesting. Listen, we saw it the other day where they slammed the door in the face of Congresswoman Maxine Waters trying to do her job. We saw that when Democrats were showing up at federal offices in Washington, D.C. We saw it. Cory Booker mentioned that. What happened to Mayor Ras Baraka? What happened to a member of Congress from New Jersey who they have now indicted as a result? And so, unlike in any other situation, they are using the full force of the law to go after any dissent. And so they don't care if you are a House member, if you are a mayor, if you are a United States senator, if you have not only that, not even damn if you're a Democrat or Republican. Senator Rand Paul is complaining because he's against Trump's budget bill. Trump has disinvited him to a bipartisan cookout at the White House. These people are about power and control. They are defying judicial rulings. They are defying everything. And the fundamental problem here is that the people who are in control of the House, Republicans, control of the House of the Senate, Republicans, they are scared to death to put this man in check. They know what he's doing is wrong, but they won't say a word.
No, they won't. Nothing that is happening is surprising. We knew this is what they were going to do. Senator Padilla needs to pursue a legal course of action because they are not using the law. They are lawless. Kristi Noem is a liar to her DNA. The Department of Homeland Security put on their website another lie saying that Senator Padilla disrupted the conference. And let's say that he did. There's a First Amendment to the United States Constitution. Generally speaking, there is sovereign immunity, so law enforcement officials, it's very difficult to sue them without the government's consent. However, and this is parenthetically why Senator Padilla back in 2021 introduced the Accountability for Federal Law Enforcement Act, which would allow an easier pathway to sue. But he needs to pursue legal action. Even if he can't file a 1983 claim or go to civil court, he certainly needs to claim that these officers acting under color of law assaulted him and let the process work its way out. What they cannot do, I agree with Reese, not this my colleague and Cory Booker with his hand on his breast. No. Senator Schiff had all the bass in his voice when he was holding Trump accountable during the impeachment hearings. It's not, I'm with Alex. No, I'm with the law. And Kristi Noem, you're not covered by Trump versus United States. Your ass going to jail as soon as these politics flip. And Stephen Miller, who's driving a great deal of this, you're going to jail too. Finally, we have to be clear about the fact, just as Rasbaraka is suing Alina Hababa in New Jersey, the interim state attorney, federal attorney in New Jersey, you need to go to court and fight these people. They don't have that kind of muscle. That snot-nosed punk, Kevin Roberts, Dr. Roberts, one of the quarterbacks of Project 2025, said famously, as you reported and as we talked about last year, that this revolution would be nonviolent if the left allows it to be. Well, guess what? No amount of peaceful protest, no amount of acquiescence is going to stop this. They are lawless, and it's time to rein these rabid dogs in. And Senator Padilla needs to go to court.
Roland, can I add one more thing?
Folks, yeah, go ahead.
All this over Kristi funky ass Noem. This wasn't like the State of the Union and Padilla was bum rushing the stage. This was a press conference with a low-level cabinet secretary in a local area. This isn't even a federal building. And this is the extreme escalation of violence. This wasn't just a disproportionate response because they're just jacked up. It's because they're trying to send a message, particularly to Democrats, that none of you are going to do a damn thing about anything that they want to do, because this is just so extreme over, like I said, this is a low-level person. This isn't nobody high up on the, it wasn't like it was J.D. Vance or the Pope or something up there. So the way that they feel so comfortable right now, you have military people yelling partisan things. They really are feeling themselves and smelling themselves right now. And unfortunately, there's no organized effort on the Democratic elected side to make them have any fear about doing these things.
Folks, this is Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass with her reaction.
Lie. And I just have to say, I served with the secretary. I served with the secretary for probably about 10 years in Congress. And Madam Secretary, I do not recognize you anymore. I do not know Kristi Noem that I served with for 10 years.
Folks, again, absolutely unbelievable. We talked about Senator Elizabeth Warren. Again, she was, I think, looks like she was going through a parking garage when this video played, when she recorded this video.
When Senator Padilla gets pushed, shoved, thrown to the handcuffed because he is asking questions, because he is engaging in the very oversight that senators are supposed to engage in, then what we're really talking about here is a Trump administration that just wants to shut down the ordinary functions of government. Look, I do a lot of oversight myself. I ask a lot of questions because that's how it works in a democracy. We use our words to hold people accountable. We don't use our fists. We don't shove. We don't try to knock people down. We use our words. That's what oversight is all about. And that's what I want to go to the floor of the Senate to talk about. I think it is time for every senator, every member of Congress, Democrat or Republican, to stand up and say what Donald Trump has done is wrong.
Things got also chippy in the U.S. House, where Congresswoman Maxwell Frost, James Comer, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they went at it.
Mr. Chair, unanimous consent request.
Mr. Frost.
Unanimous consent request into the record a NBC article. Senator Alex Padilla removed from news conference with Homeland Security Secretary Noem.
All right, without objection to order.
I have another one, the Hill article. Padilla forcibly removed from Noem press conference.
Without objection to order.
And I have a third one, Axios, Democratic senator forcibly removed from DHS press conference.
Without objection to order.
Mr. Chair, also, we were just talking about this. I want to know if you can commit to working with us so we can subpoena.
You're out of order. Chair recognizes
I have
Ms. Greene.
I have a point of order.
No.
I have a point of order.
State your point.
We need to subpoena.
That's not
Secretary
a point of order.
Noem.
Chair recognizes
We just
Ms.
talked
Greene.
about this
That's
earlier.
not a point.
We talked.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Thrown to the ground.
Reclaiming my time.
And handcuffed in his own damn
Oh,
thing.
Democrats can't follow the rules. Can't follow the law. Can't follow the rules. Can't follow the law.
We need to subpoena Kristi Noem. It's
Chair
her
recognizes
staff.
Ms. Greene.
DHS federal
There's a privilege of the majority, and that means we're in charge, not your side, because you lost the election.
Ms. Greene, we're going to start the clock.
Because you supported the invasion of our country.
All right.
It's my time.
Will you commit on the record
Stop
to
the
work
clock.
My
to
time.
subpoena
Thank you,
Kristi
Mr.
Noem?
Chairman. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
You're out of order. Chair recognizes
Will
Ms.
you
Greene.
commit on the record
you.
to subpoenaing Kristi Noem because a U.S. senator was just thrown to the ground and detained in his own...
Democrats can't follow the
You're
rules.
out of
Can't
order.
follow the law.
Will you
Can't
commit-
follow the rules.
Shut up. Just shut up.
No, you don't. No,
Shut
you're
up.
not going to tell me to shut up.
How do you get him in order? You're running for the
Not like that.
he has been out of order 6 times. He's trying to get on MSNBC. You probably knocked somebody off
I don't have any problem
MSNBC
getting
to
on
get on there.
MSNBC. That's not
I
what
think
it's
as
about.
he's been arrested as a
recognized.
former
Yeah, well,
Antifa
okay,
member,
you're
right?
back to
Antifa.
order, Ms. Greene. Go.
He's a
Go.
former
All
Antifa
right, Ms.
member,
Greene. You're
Mr. Chairman.
recognized. You got
no
it.
surprise.
Who's a former
Sure.
Antifa member? Me?
Yeah, you.
I asked that these words be taken down.
No, Ms. Greene,
Thank you.
you're
I
recognized.
asked
Thank
that
you,
these words
Mr.
be taken
Chairman.
down.
There's a motion.
Governor
Ms. Greene is
Hochul,
recognized.
Governor
I asked that
Hochul,
these
you
words be taken
stated
down.
that you're a proud Democrat, proud registered
All right,
Democrat.
we got to suspend. There's been a parliamentary move. They said they weren't going to do that.
That idiot literally said, you're an Antifa member? Okay, white supremacist. Zabor G joins us. Look, what you're seeing here, Zabor, is this level of craziness. First of all, how insane is it to hear Marjorie Taylor Greene say Democrats don't want to follow the law when that's what this administration is constantly doing, breaking the law?
Definitely. It's a lack of respect, and you can see the lack of respect. No order was followed. They are just throwing words, screaming, removing people. They have no level of decorum. And they can say all day that it's the Democrats that are not following the rules or the Democrats that are not doing this and not doing that. But how can anyone follow rules in so much chaos? You don't want a person to follow the rules or have respect when you're throwing people out and dragging people out. I think that it's a disrespect to our democracy and to everything that the country is supposed to stand for.
Again, what we are seeing is sheer craziness, and Republicans are allowing that. Now you have House Speaker Mike Johnson not condemning the actions of these federal officers. He's saying that Congress has censured Senator Padilla. These people literally are crazy. And this is what happens when you put the power of the White House, the House, and the Senate in the party of deranged MAGA Republicans.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.